Hello, I am Dr. Darnita L. Payton, and my purpose is to educate, encourage, and enlighten. Thank you so much for taking the time to stop by my channel today. I am so grateful that you are here. If you saw the last video on moving mountains, 5 steps to achieving your goals, you remember that I had a special guest. He's still here. I hope that you had a wonderful Christmas. I know that it was different for many of us, but we were still celebrating the true reason for the season, which is Jesus Christ. And so I hope that you were able to enjoy it. Today, we're going to talk about 5 ways for dealing with difficult people. I noticed, did you see that segue? Yeah, we have to deal with difficult people. And so I really wanted to do this video for you all. And as I said in a previous video, in this one you'll see me, refer to my notes because it's just so important and so delicious that I want to make sure delicious has become one of my favorite words to describe something that is not food related. But it's so rich that I really want to make sure that I'm giving you everything that I intended when I was creating this video. So if you see me look down or you see me reading, that is why it's real life here. So for our purposes, defining what a difficult person is for us is someone who drains you of all of your energy. They take away, if you allow them, your positive outlook on life. They may be someone who just doesn't understand or your ideas, or they don't have the same sets of beliefs or thoughts and ideas that you do. They're the type of people who, if you allow them, will ruin your entire day. They may change your mindset, or they just may make life seemingly more, play on words here, difficult. Do you know anybody like that? I do. They may be people who seem to live to cause confusion, to cause conflict. They may be people that we know or love, or they may be people that we just have a brief encounter with, like the person who won't let you over in traffic, when I'm driving again, or the person who was rude to you in a store when I'm shopping again, or someone who was rude to you online. It may be that person. Thankfully, though, for those types of people and those interactions, they are generally short and not on a regular basis. And although those encounters may make you feel some kind of way, you don't have to deal with those people on a regular basis. So for our purposes, I'm talking about those people with whom we have a longer term relationship and more long-term interactions on a regular basis. So sadly, we live in a world where these type of people exist, and by type of people I mean difficult people. But there are things that we can do to make existing with them at least a little less difficult. Prayer is my number one go-to in all instances. At least is my number one intention, because we want to do all the right things all the time, and sometimes we don't, but it is my number one intention, whether you know God or not, and I hope that you do. Prayer is what I do. Sidebar. Every time I read that, when I was creating this, I keep thinking of the William Murphy song, Praise is What I Do. Every time I hear that, okay, back to what we're talking about, difficult people. Prayer is what I do when I'm dealing with difficult people who are intent on taking every ounce of happiness and sunshine and everything that is good about life out of you and out of me. If you've seen my video on 5 ways to maintaining your joy, you know that I talk about people only being able to take from you what you allow, but difficult people do make it more challenging for you to hold on to your joy, to hold on to your happiness and your walking on sunshine. So the first thing I do before I do any of the other 4 steps that we're going to talk about, and that's including using all of the knowledge that I've gained from my 3 degrees in psychology, is to pray. Because without it, I know that they're likely going to say something that is going to tap on my last good reserve nerve, and they're going to say or do something that's going to make me want to look at them sideways. And I don't want to do that, and I don't want them tap dancing on my nerves. So I want to pray. The way that I prepare is after praying to help me deal with the negativity that this person is just going to bring into my otherwise happy and joyful day. I prepare by, if I know that there's a difficult person on my list, on my schedule for that day, I want to make sure that I'm ready for them. I want to make sure that I literally make a list of what I'm going to do if they say something or do something that is difficult. And you know how big I am on lists. So I think about, well, what things have in the past been triggers for me with this person? What are some of the things that they're likely to say or that they can do? And I'll have answers already prepared, or I'll have an action already prepared when they do that. I take into account how I'm feeling that day. But basically what I'm trying to do is to have a game plan of action for dealing with this person. I know they're going to say, if I say, well, oh, how are you feeling today? Or how are you doing? They're going to say, life sucks. Or if I say, well, I hope you're feeling well today, they're going to say, well, no, I feel like dirt. You know, you've been there, right? You're shaking your head. I can see you out there. I really can't. So for any question or anything that they have that, comes out of their mouth, I already want to have a planned retort available. That's where the planning comes in. So I want to be able to, say something positive in retort to what they say, or I want to have something that distracts them from their negativity, or I want to make sure that I have something that I can put my mind on so that I don't buy into their negativity and their difficult behaviors. Does that make sense? So I'm planning not only for them, I'm planning for me as well. So that is my plan, to pray, and to prepare. And for me, I want to deal with that person earlier in my day. If you've seen it in my videos, you know that I'm a super early morning person. And I want to deal with the difficult people, if I can, if life allows it. I want to deal with them earlier in the day. Because I'm less likely to be drained. I have more energy. And I'm just feeling great about the day. I have great expectations. And I'd rather deal with them earlier in the day than I would when I may be feeling, less energetic. And I've already dealt with life already. Timing matters. Now, this is going to sound counterproductive, and it may even sound as if I'm discounting number one or the entire video. I promise you I'm not. So, number two is not to view that person as a difficult person. Stay with me. I'm going to make it clear. If you go into dealing with someone who is difficult or does not see life the way that you see it, you've already labeled them as difficult or negative, even if they are. That's most likely how the interaction is going to play out. It's going to play out in a negative fashion. So I'm not telling you to lie to yourself. I would never encourage you to do that. I want you to be honest. What I'm asking you to do and encouraging you to do is to retrain and reframe your thoughts on this person and see them as someone who may have issues, they may have problems, or they may have in the past even been difficult to deal with. We're not saying that none of that is true. Maybe even in the past they were a negative person. But right now, while you're dealing with them, you're going to see them and define them differently. Does that make sense? Okay, so this benefits you and them. It shows them grace, right? So yes, they have issues. Yes, they have problems. And yes, they may have difficult behaviors that they're dealing with that are not productive. They have habits that aren't helpful at all. But you are going to think about them and you are going to treat them differently. You're going to see them in a different light and you're going to deal with them in a more positive way. Again, this benefits you. If you think about it, you're basically disarming them from being difficult. Make sure that the issue is really with them and that is not with you. Look in the mirror, directly into the mirror. Is it an attitude or is it something, an assumption that you've made about them? Or is it based on an encounter that you had with someone else? Or maybe you had with this person, but it's been in the past and you're still projecting that onto this person in this situation. Is it something that someone else did to you and you see that in this person? So that's how you're dealing with them. Is it something that you have not dealt with and that you need to deal with? Personal reflection. So you always want to be aware and honest. Remember, I said I'm not encouraging you to lie to yourself. And you want to be humble. So look to yourself first and see if it's something that's internal with you. If it's an issue that you have not dealt with, or it's something that makes you sensitive in this situation when you're dealing with this person. If that's not the case and is not you, then on to step 4. Now, I acknowledge before I get started that this is often the most difficult step for people to take. It's the most challenging one, I should say. Seeking understanding about a person who is intent on making your life difficult or intent on making your life miserable, but I promise you it is possible. So I would ask you to keep this in mind, however. What is the source of their difficulty? Generally, not always, someone who's intimidating or seemingly impossible to deal with, or someone who is always in a foul mood or has a nasty attitude, there's generally a lot of hurt there. There may be some poor self-worth. There may be a lack of confidence, insecurity, pain, and past rejection as well. So with genuine concern, and you notice I said genuine concern, I want you to ask that person this question. Why are you acting in this difficult way? And I want you to put in what the difficult behavior is. So don't just generally say, why are you being difficult? Because that's not going to work. So, for example, you may say, why are you yelling when we're trying to have a conversation? Or why are you turning your back on me and walking away while we're talking? And wait for the answer, because you generally want to know why they're doing that. Now, be prepared, however, for them to look at you inquisitively and say, I'm the difficult one. Because I was just having this conversation the other day, and tell me if this is your experience. People who are difficult don't seem to know that they're difficult, or they don't want to acknowledge that they're difficult, but they are. So let me know down in the comments if that has been your experience. They just don't seem to be aware that they are the difficult one in this situation. So there's some need for personal reflection for them as well, like we just talked about in number 3 for us, looking in the mirror, but that's for another video. But what I want to know is, what is the source of the lack of understanding, or awareness would probably be a better word, that they're being difficult? What's missing for them? So now, if they've exhibited these behaviors most of their life, which isn't an excuse for the behavior at all, when someone says to me, well, that's just who I am, I quickly retort, no, that's who you've chosen to be, or that's how you've chosen to act. Because if you know, you've heard me say before, that we have a choice in how we act and we react. So let me be very clear. Just because the person may have had difficult days, or they've exhibited difficult behaviors all their days, that is never an excuse for them to, be disrespectful or to be harmful or anything like that. Our past does not have to dictate what our present and what our future is, and it doesn't have to dictate our behaviors as well. And I'm telling you that you do not have to endure any type of abuse or, negativity. It's not your responsibility to change them. I'm just trying to get you to understand and gain a perspective, as flawed as it may be, from their point of view. Remember, as I said, it's never okay to be mean or disrespectful to anyone, and you do not have to endure that. I know you're rejoicing over this one, and I'm almost certain that as I am saying this, that number 5 is going to be your favorite. If you found number 4 difficult, you will likely find this step the easiest. But hold on, because it comes with a caveat. If possible, capital I, capital F. Now, let me say, you just can't go around, avoiding everyone who's difficult, or everyone who has a nasty attitude, or everyone who, again, see number 1 is dancing on your last good reserve nerve with their tap dance shoes. Because if that was possible, I would have done it first, and this would have been a much shorter video. So that's not always an option. But in some instances, notice I said some, this will be the most effective thing for you to do, is to limit your interaction with this person. Whenever possible, use wisdom and show grace. But I think sometimes that we forget that this is an option, and we feel almost as if it's something that we have to do, that we have to endure when we're dealing with difficult people. And I will remind you that it is not your responsibility to change anyone. You can pray for them to change. You can even suggest that they change. They're not likely to listen, so I would reserve that one for last. And you can, again, help them to change. So if it's someone that you absolutely don't have to deal with on a regular basis, I would tell you to limit your contact. Do your best to limit your contact with that person. Or at least have other people around you, a team of witnesses, if you were, to help spread around the difficulty level that you're dealing with. And they can be there to support you. So surround yourself with people who can help you. Now, if it's someone that you have to deal with because it's unavoidable, say your spouse or a family member, or it's your boss, you can still use this, but it will be, of course, a little more difficult, because it's always okay to say, look, I just need a moment. I need some time for myself over there, or I just need some time away. So you can still use this one, just letting them know that, okay, we're having some difficulty here, and it doesn't seem that we're going to resolve this right now. So let's just take some time away, for a moment. And then you'll set a time limit, because you're not just, and I'm not saying that you're going to walk away angry and you're never going to talk to that person again. That's not what we're talking about. You're going to set a limit for maybe how long you're going to disengage, 15 minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll, try to figure this out again. But if it is someone that you have to deal with, make sure that you implement the first 4 steps that we talked about, because I want you to know that for these 5 steps, it may take some time to go through the steps more than one time. It may not be linear. You may not go from 1 to 5. You may have to go, from a different step to a different step, not in order, and that's okay. This is a journey. This may not happen easy 1 step to easy 5 steps. So keep that in mind. But again, remind people that it's okay to say, I just need a moment. I'll get back to you in just a minute. And then you do that. So there you have it. 5 steps to dealing with difficult people. I hope that this video was beneficial for you. I really, truly want to hear about your successes and even your struggles or your failures in the comment section after you've put this into practice. That way I can tweak it and we can talk about, some other ways that we can deal with difficult people. So please, before you leave, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe. Turn on the bell notification, and do me one favor. Tell at least 5 people you know about my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. If you would like more information or you would like a free consultation, please visit me at drdeclutter.com. That's Dr., the letter D, the word clutter.com. It'll be in the description box. And if no one has told you today how awesome you are, I want you to know that you are absolutely, positively awesome. Take care. God bless. Bye. Okay, really? The mail just came through. Okay.